At the top, I mentioned that Richard Brooks, along with John Huston, was responsible for conjuring Ernest Hemingway's short story into a feature-length script. He didn't get any credit, however, because producer Mark Hellinger wanted to exploit Hemingway's name exclusively on all the posters and promotional ads. Hemingway was America's most famous writer, after all, with Pulitzer and Nobel Prizes for literature still ahead of him. How would it look, Hellinger asked Brooks, if the credit read, "Story by Hemingway and Brooks"? Instead of griping, Brooks made a deal for 1% of the profits in lieu of his name being in the credits. And that proved to be a brilliant stroke when the picture hit big. Brooks earned about $25,000 for his work, which would be more than $400,000 today. He'd also write Hellinger's next picture, the volcanic 1947 prison drama Brute Force, as well as Huston's big hit, Key Largo, in 1948. All this set Brooks up to emerge in the 1950s as one of Hollywood's powerhouse triple threats, writing, producing, and directing classics such as Deadline USA, The Blackboard Jungle, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Elmer Gantry, and In Cold Blood. Now, Brooks wasn't the only one involved with the Killers who became a producer. Even though this was only his first film, Burt Lancaster was a quick study. Within a year, he'd form his own production company, producing his first picture, Kiss the Blood Off My Hands, for Universal in 1948. In addition to making excellent genre pictures like The Crimson Pirate, Vera Cruz, and Ulzana's Raid, Lancaster was co-producer of two classics, Marty, winner of the Best Picture Oscar in 1955, and Sweet Smell of Success, a dud on its release in 1957, but now regarded as one of the finest films of the 50s. And while Mark Hellinger deserved every bit of credit for shaping the Killers, serendipity also played a part, as it always does. Hellinger was, after all, going to cast either Van Heflin, John Hall, or Sonny Tufts as the Swede, until Hal Wallis showed him Lancaster's screen test for Desert Fury. Hellinger was also determined to give editor Don Siegel, whom he'd worked with at Warner Brothers, his first crack at directing a feature. But Warner's wanted too much money to loan Siegel out, so Hellinger instead went with Robert Siodmak, who just made 4 terrific films in a row at Universal: Phantom Lady, The Suspect, Christmas Holiday, and The Strange Affair of Uncle Harry. It was the Killers, however, that galvanized Siodmak's reputation in the business, earning him comparisons with Alfred Hitchcock. Now here's a trivia question for you. Who is the only performer to appear in both versions of the Killers? Time's up. The answer is Virginia Christine, a.k.a. the Folgers Coffee Lady, who played Lily Lubinsky in the 1946 original, and 18 years later played the receptionist at the School for the Blind in the opening scene of the 1964 remake. Little bit of business orchestrated by director Don Siegel. Although the Killers broke house records when it opened at the Winter Garden Theater in Manhattan on August 28, 1946, necessitating round-the-clock screenings, literally 24 hours a day, it was not the highest-grossing film noir that year. The Postman Always Rings Twice, Gilda, The Spiral Staircase, also directed by Siodmak, and Alfred Hitchcock's Notorious all finished ahead of the Killers among the box office hits of '46, which was evidence of two things. First, 1946 was the biggest box office year ever in Hollywood, based on the number of admissions, not ticket price. And second, film noir had by then been fully injected into the cultural bloodstream. Well, next week, Noir Alley is headed to France for a uniquely French caper featuring the nation's most popular actor. Jean Gabin stars in Touché par Grisby, which sounds pretty frou-frou until you know that translated into English, it means, don't touch the loot. To fully appreciate it, I suggest enhancing your viewing pleasure with the 3 B's: baguette, brie, and Bordeaux. Until then, see you in the shadows, or in line at the boulangerie.